Siamo qui con Boji, founder di China Start. So, hello. I would like to ask you something about, as a founder of China Start, I would like to ask you something about your project, your mission.
China Star Program is really a program targeted at the European startups. And the idea is that Europe has talent, Europe has idea and technology, but Europe is a lack of the funding and lack of a large market. But China has it. China has a one large market, and China has a lot of capital ready to invest in European startups. That's why we developed the China Star Program to really bring startups from Europe to China to help them to really understand how to enter this market, and also help them to connect to the local partners, and finally to help them to pitch for the funding.
And so, as you improved Chinese startup ecosystem, what would you do for Italy, for Italian startups? What kind of advice you would give to young people?
I think for the European startups, it's important that you can develop a technology here, develop your idea here, your business model here. But at some point of time, you need to expand your business. So you need to expand to other European countries, expand to America, but most importantly, expand to China as well. So that's how we can come here to help. We're here to help the startups to enter Chinese market, to connect them with the potential partners, and to really help them to raise the money in China. And last week we were in China with about 30 startups and from 14 different countries, very diverse group of the entrepreneurs. And we brought about 500 investors to meet them. So in 5 different pitching events. So they had an opportunity to pitch to more than 500 investors. That is enormous. And from there, they established an incredible network in China. So that is something that we can do for them as well. And on top of that, we obviously teach them how to enter China, what is their China strategy, help them understand the cross-cultural difference, because the Chinese culture are certainly different from Italian culture. So from that perspective, that knowledge about China is also enormously important.
And as an investor today at Heroes, what are you looking for in startups, or what kind of startups are you looking for?
Well, we're looking for a wide range of the startups, but I would say I listened to the pitch, and I'm already quite excited for some of the projects. And for instance, we're very interested in the medical, pharmaceutical areas, medical device. I see a number of the company have that. For instance, they produce device to help to detect the early diseases. So so that is very important. They have a small device for that. And also anything related to the human health is tremendously important for China. So we call it big health. So this is pharmaceutical, it's medical, and it is human nutrition and all those areas. And secondly is important is technology development related to the hardware. Related to the AI, China is very interested. FinTech is another interesting area. So, for instance, the InsurTech, FinTech, very, very interesting in China. Payment is very big in China. P2P lending is very important. And also 3F. So, for instance, in Italy here, you have fashion, you have food, and you have furniture. So these 3 are a trademark of Italy, and China desperately need that as well. So you could do very well for startups to go to China. And also very important for Chinese investor to look at it is anything that is heavy technology, like for instance engineering related technology, hardware. It's tremendously interesting to Chinese, and social media as well. I saw a company called Come Home. So they developed an app that can really connect people. We have lots of people in China, so apps is absolutely interesting to China. But you need to do fast because Chinese like to copy sometimes. So you have to really be robust and to really be able to do it fast in China. You need a lot of capital as well. And O2O as well, from online to offline. So anything related to that in China has a huge market.
Talking about investing, do you think is it just a matter of money or?
Well, certainly it's not just about money. Investing, for instance, from a Chinese investor point of view, most of the Chinese investor would not invest in a project unless they can help them to develop their market in China. So this is certainly not just about, the money, invest in money, but also invest in the resources that the investor has. So connect them to the marketplace to really help them to expand their business to China, to help them to develop through their network. That is tremendously important. So most investors, before they invest, one of the important things they ask themselves is, can we help them after we invest in this company? Do we have network? Do we have resources? Do we have guanxi to really help them? Do we have within our ecosystem the companies who can help them to develop? So for that is tremendously important for the investor to consider for that. So now in China, we became more specialist, meaning that, for instance, some investors invest in sports, some specialize to invest in furniture, some specialize in fashion, some specialize in invest in food. So because they develop this kind of expertise and also ecosystem to really help the entrepreneurs, to help startups. Otherwise, they don't feel comfortable to invest because their impact in that company is not very big. But if they have this capability and network, then they feel confident because they can make a positive impact to the company. So often they will invest not just in one company in that industry, but a group of companies, and many of them. Maybe some company could help each other. For instance, they will invest in the company, will supply the product to the company they invest, and or be the customer of that. So that is very important.
Last question. What's innovation for you?
Well, that's a very big subject. Innovation, particularly in China, for me, the innovation is not just about creating the value. Innovation is you innovate during the process. You create the value. So that I will frame it as value innovation. So what that means is that during the process of creating value to the consumer, and now you're talking about innovating. So that itself is innovation. Now in China, unfortunately, we have a lot of companies, startups. I always say that you're creating a company, but you're not innovating. What that means is that you're creating a business, but that business doesn't really create value to the consumer. Okay, you're not solving a problem. You're just following other people. For instance, sometimes we have an entrepreneur create a business, a new concept, but then other people immediately follow them to do the same thing. So being a follower rather than a real innovator, as someone that is really disruptive in the market space. So in my definition, an innovator should really disrupt the market and to really look at what consumer wants and then come up with idea that really generate the value and solving a problem to the marketplace. You know, for instance, like Facebook. The founder was trying to solve a problem. He's not much about making money or creating a business. He's more interested and fascinated, as a matter of fact, by the fact that the people couldn't, connect to each other. So he's trying to create, solve the connectivity problem. Steve Jobs is trying to solve another problem. He's trying to solve a problem where people have a problem of using the mobile phone. So he came up with smartphone, touch screen, using apps. So that's solving the problem. And Bill Gates at the beginning of inventing the PC is feeling that people should really have a tool which is personal computer, rather than the large computer, not just industrial computer, but also that. So I think innovation needs to solve a problem. So for any entrepreneur, don't start with thinking how much money I'm going to make. I couldn't find a job, so I I create a startup in order to have something to do. No, that's a wrong mentality. Your mentality should be based on, I see there's a problem here, and I want to solve that problem. And if it's a big enough problem, it became a big business. And if it's a smaller problem, it's a smaller startup.